The history of the West, the reason the Western world has done as well as it has, and particularly the history of the United States, is one in which prosperity creates the conditions for other desirable things. That sounds very grand for 9 a.m. But America became possible. The American Revolution became a plausible enterprise because of a democratization of not only authority, but of the economy. What are the 2 or 3 most important things that happened in the run-up to the American Revolution? The rise of the bourgeoisie in Europe, the shift of the world from being essentially vertical, right? Princes, prelates, kings, popes, all were born with certain authority, certain power, and they were inalienable rights. The rights that were inalienable were the ones of those who were born at the top. So what's happening in the 16th, 17th, 18th centuries that leads on to the American Revolution here? That world is becoming more vertical. Inalienable rights are not seen as those with which one is born at the top, but with which all of us are born, with all the limitations and the historical tragedies of African American slavery, Native American removal, the rights of women, but the process that was unfolding, and of which the American Revolution was the political manifestation, was one in which divine rights were not limited to the few, but were in fact recognized in the many. And that was possible. That philosophical insight found political expression not only because of politics, but because of economics. Because, in fact, hereditary authority, hereditary property was breaking down, and commerce was thriving. Democracy follows prosperity. This is a vital thing in foreign policy right now. The problems in the part of the world where we find ourselves watching all too often, violence and attacks and acts of war on the United States, would be immensely ameliorated if there was a thriving middle class and a vibrant commerce. Commerce often creates the conditions for which there are other advances. Commerce creates the ability, the space for there to be advances of the spirit. That's the American story. Doesn't mean that prosperity and economics are the be-all and end-all, but as a pure clinical historical matter, without prosperity, democracy is in danger. A wrinkle there is that the prosperity has to be wide. It can't simply be deep in certain pockets. Shared prosperity creates a world in which we all want to live and be part and advance and live on in a way that creates not only security in pure economic terms, but creates the things, the arts, the sciences, the advances that we want to be part of and hand on to children. That begins with culture. And the culture here in Nashville, by my observation, is one in which, in this beautiful place, music was here, so the city and region found a wonderful way to monetize and to create prosperity, to create commerce involved there. The healthcare industry. I know there are many creators and protectors and nurturers of that, but there is a line from Sam Fleming and the Frists and Jack Massey to many of the jobs that are held by many of our people, of our fellow citizens in Nashville and Middle Tennessee. The fact of these great universities being here, Vanderbilt and MTSU and Belmont and Lipscomb and others are here, nurtured by alumni who wanted these institutions to do well. All of those things, music, healthcare, the universities, were here, and they have grown. They have been tended beautifully. Which leads to, I think, a second principle, which is that political civility pays. If culture is commerce, political civility and moderation pays. Because one of the great drivers of the prosperity in which we are all taking part right now is the automobile industry. The automobile industry, which was brought to Tennessee in many ways by a Republican governor in the 1980s, whose work was protected nurtured, extended by his Democratic successors. Tennessee is a remarkable state politically. Almost to the regret of people who do what I do, there aren't really that many crazy people at the highest levels, or at least they hide it really well. I grew up in Chattanooga at a time when our police commissioner was named Bookie. It was not a literary appellation. It was an occupational one. Those were the good old days. But when you think about Tennessee politics at a statewide level, it's a pretty remarkable group of people. Going all the way back, the national figures for a long, long time, Kefauver, Gores, Sassers, Coopers, Alexander, Corker, Howard Baker, who's just died. It's a remarkable legacy of people who have found that civility and moderation, by and large, is not only a good starter, but a good finisher. And so I would argue that we are particularly lucky at the moment, and I'm relentlessly bipartisan, but we're remarkably lucky in the leadership we have at the moment.